Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Olin, and I'm here with two Spin alumni, both attending West Virginia University and competing on the varsity Valorant roster at West Virginia.
Hi, my name's Tayz. I'm from California. I got into gaming probably at the age of 12 years old by my uncle. Started on Halo, moved into Call of Duty, mainly on the Xbox, and then I finally picked up Team Fortress 2 on the computer. Had a little laptop, and very fast I got into Counter-Strike, and everything's history since then. It's just been nonstop grinding and just in competitive games. Found Valorant in beta and never turned around.
Yeah. What's up, guys? I'm Boltzy, or Angel. I'm from New Jersey, and I've been playing video games for like over a decade now, and I'm only 19. So I started with Call of Duty, used to run game battles back in the day, and then from there I transitioned to Fortnite, and Fortnite caused me to buy my first computer. And once I started playing PC on Fortnite, I took that to a pretty high level, and then from there I wanted to pursue Valorant.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm a COD kid too. I come from a game battles background, so Black Ops 2 and Ghost, I ran the ladders. So that was all me.
Yeah.
Dope. Okay, so Taze, let's talk about your move from California to West Virginia. I'm sure it's not near as nice weather over there. How did that conversation kind of get started with West Virginia University, and what do you think of it now?
Well, originally I was playing Tier 2 in Valorant, and everyone knows how that went. The scene kind of died out, so I heard that collegiate gaming was starting to become like a pretty prominent thing, and I decided to reach out to, stay plugged in and see if I can get connected with some good schools. And I don't remember his name, but I got connected with about, say, like 15, 20 schools and had some really good options. And last second, before the semester started, West Virginia University contacted me and the director, and I actually decided to go with them. I liked the team the most. That's really what drove me to pick a school. I didn't really care about location. I just mainly cared about the team. I thought this team was really good. And, my family was like, well, that's very far away. And I understood that. And I got here last second, and I drove 36 hours straight without
Wow.
stopping to get out here because I was like a day late already to this semester. And
Different
uh,
breed.
yeah, I've been here for 3 semesters, and uh, it's been great.
That's crazy. That's quite the trip and timeline. Boltsy, similar story, or how did it come around for you?
Um, well, actually, he was on Shopify. Finn. He used to go to West Virginia and play on the esports team, I'm pretty sure, and he had reached out to me after I was already set up with Stay Plugged In. I believe Beza got me set up, if I remember correctly. But I had plenty of schools from you guys, and I was exploring those options for a while, and then Finn hit me up and he was like, "Hey, like we're trying to build a Valorant team at West Virginia, but we're only gonna do it if we can give it 100%." And I was like, "Okay, that's fair. Like, I'm probably gonna wait on you guys, honestly." West Virginia is the closest place to home for me because I'm from Jersey. It's not that far. And I used to play sports, so going to a big D1 school was like ideal for me. Just for the same experience that I would have gotten as like a regular athlete at one of these schools. So that's kind of what made me pick West Virginia. Basically, family, location, and then I got to meet my teammates, and I just love everything about West Virginia. I don't think I'm going anywhere anytime soon. I like it here. I like my team, environment. It's pretty dope. It's been amazing so far.
That's awesome. Yeah, and Beza not no longer with the company. I believe
Yeah.
Suave is maybe who you had spoke to, Taze. Nick Suave. But
That sounds very familiar. Yes.
yeah, yeah, no. So awesome stories from both of you. I mean, so it seems like the tier two scene kind of careened into collegiate. How is it
Yeah.
maybe seeing those faces on different rosters now? Because you're not seeing a full tier two squad go to one college. It's all kind of intermingled. What's it like competing against those intermixed squads?
I would, well, I'd say like there's pluses and minuses to every team. I mean, a lot of universities have kind of more of a lax enrollment system, so you can be fully online. You don't have to be in person, and schools like that tend to actually get better rosters because they're getting tier two players who are still at home but are willing to, kind of get a college education and play in collegiate. And then there's also schools like, for instance, like West Virginia, where to come to the school and play collegiate in any game, you have to be at the school, have to live here, have to be in person, have to keep your grades up. There's a lot of, trying to balance your school life, your, social life, and your gaming life all in one every single day does get hard. I will say I probably spend about 20 hours a week in school, 20 hours a week on homework, and probably 20 hours a week in prac every week. So I'm busy, and I would say that a lot of these colleges have good rosters, and it's nice to see people from the tier two scene competing in collegiate and new players coming in. It just makes the scene better and better, and it's just going to continue to grow.
That's an interesting point. I was talking with Chronic again at Red Bull Campus Clutch, and he was saying that because West Virginia is an NCAA school, you guys have to abide by the 20-hour practice rules per week. Do you think that may hinder your performances against other colleges that may not abide by the same rules, like a Northwood or a Fisher?
Um,
Um,
oh, you got it. You got it. Sorry.
I feel like it's like give or take, depending on how you look at it. I feel like 20 hours a week is more than enough if you're practicing like efficiently. So it doesn't really hinder us in the sense of like I don't think we're not getting better because we're practicing for a restricted amount of time. I also just don't think most schools in college even practice that amount in general. So the fact that we're hitting that mark is probably more than most people. So I don't think it hinders us at all. I think it probably benefits us because our school likes to go more towards that limit rather than away from it. So I feel like we do get more practice time than most other teams. And it's also just, I think, a better experience for us being in person. I practice next to my teammates a good amount, probably used to be every day. Now it's more like a few times a week. I play matches next to them. We have media days. We have gear. Like everything is like more closer to the pro experience when you're in person rather than being online where you're still kind of like isolated in your own little bubble.
For sure, and getting that Division One school experience that a football, baseball, softball, any of those players would. Speak to that a little bit. What was it like arriving at West Virginia and then jumping right into competition and kind of getting that treatment?
Well, it was very fast. Coming out to West Virginia last second, I literally showed up a day after I think the semester started. Was already worried about my classes. First time in college, I was like, oh no, am I falling behind? And then that week, we're also starting 4 hours of practice a day. Really threw me for a loop. I'm used to practicing 4 hours a day, but I'm not used to doing practice on top of schoolwork, on top of learning the new area and getting situated. But I would say like my teammates helped me with that a lot, and just like meeting people, just putting myself out there.
Yeah. I think I could say the same thing. It was very quick. Like we got here and immediately straight to business, but I kind of like it that way. It allowed me to like focus less on like leaving my family and like my previous life essentially, and more so embracing like my future. So I think it was a good experience overall, but it was very fast. Like we got the gear rolling like immediately, basically.
Definitely, and kind of speak to the recruiting process in itself. I know you both had touched on, a couple of different colleges had contacted me. How do you think the Stay Plugged In platform assisted you versus you doing it all entirely through on social media or yourself?
I think it was a lot more professional. Like when I first like started looking for more schools than I already like had, I was looking for ways other than my Twitter because they would reach out to me and we set up meetings and stuff. But it felt like a very like distracting process because I was finishing out my senior year of high school. I was playing my senior year of hockey and baseball while also trying to play tier two and prep for college and stuff like that. So I think once I reached out to Stay Plugged In, you guys kind of like took over and like just allowed me to just like figure out what school I wanted to go to rather than having to do all the extra steps. It really took a lot of stress and a lot off my plate and allowed me to like focus more for sure. So I'd say it was a great experience.
I agree with that completely. In my my situation, Stay Plugged In really took all the grunt work out of looking into colleges, finding what has esports teams, doing all of like the due diligence to even like find what was available. They just presented me with like here's like 15 options, like or here's the schools that like you would be a good fit for, you know, kind of it. Tell me what you want to have an interview for, and we'll set it up. And that really just took all the pressure off of me and allowed me to kind of just like look at the options and start discussing that with my family instead of not knowing what was out there. It's nice to get a full perspective of like what your options are instead of like missing something. If I was doing all that work on my own, I might have not even known West Virginia University had an esports team. So Stay Plugged In really benefits students, especially trying to get into college and play collegiate.
The last thing, I'd also say it's very beneficial for people who don't have brands. Fortunately enough, when me and Drew were looking for colleges, we were already playing tier two and we knew people and stuff like that. So our posts were able to get out there. But like for most high school kids, they're either not allowed to use social media or they don't have that big of a following or whatever the case is. So like it definitely helps them reach more schools in general and be able to get that scholarship or that school that they want and deserve.
Definitely, yeah, and playing in part with that, building a brand for yourself early and getting your name and just getting known in the scene, right? What's a piece of advice you could give an aspiring collegiate esports player to prepare them maybe for their first 2 semesters of college?
In terms of college alone, I'd probably say focus more on the good than bad. If you go into it with a glass half full mindset, you'll be a lot happier just because it is a big change in your life. You're young, you're very emotional and impulsive. So if you can just focus on the good things and help limit those like impulsive reactions or like those negative thoughts and like escape essentially falling into that, excuse me, that dark hole or whatever, that'll take you way further than anything else. Just being positive and really enjoying the experience for what it is. Because excuse me, uh, for me, it was so new that it was very hesitant for me to want to buy in. But if you buy in completely, you'll be much better off.
I agree with that completely. I would say my biggest piece of advice for players looking to come to play collegiate in any video game for any college is that you need to balance your schoolwork and your gaming life. There's a lot of people who come to college and play collegiate, and they get here and they're like, oh, you know what, school, I'm not really into that, but I'm just here to play video games. Well, guess what? You're not going to be eligible to play if you don't keep your grades up. You have to keep a good balance. And on top of that, I would say just be willing to reach out to people, ask for help, because when you come to a new place, a new college, you're probably not going to know anyone. And if you do know people, it's probably going to be your teammates. You're going to be living in a new area, a new city. You're not going to know where what buildings your classes are in. You're not going
Yeah,
to know very simple stuff. And the easiest way to combat those challenges is just ask questions, learn, and just stay on top of your schoolwork mainly is my advice, because if you get bad grades, no college is going to want to have you on their team.
yeah,
These directors are required to have their players be at a certain level. I think it's like a 2.0, but no
yeah.
director wants all his students to be on a 2.0, because that's not good grade point average. You
It's a
need to be
risky
at some,
line to walk.
yeah, you need to be at something a little higher.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Especially because most esports programs at the moment aren't under athletics, so they're recreational, or most of these guys are relying on academic scholarships. So those are doing your schoolwork and getting good grades are two very important things to even get into collegiate, let alone be successful in it.
100%. I agree on all fronts. Let's speak to you guys' accolades a little, obviously. So, West Virginia, known school in athletics. Coming into esports, they qualified for CRL, I think, last year and this year. Valorant steps into the scene, and you guys are just on fire. Coming into, I think, you went to the Pittsburgh LAN under not WVU, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that performance there. How did you guys like it?
Well, that was our first LAN as a team. I would say going into it, we didn't have super high expectations. We weren't like, oh, we're gonna come and win this LAN. The main reason of going there was just get LAN experience as a team for the first time. Get the first time jitters out. Just try to improve and play our game. We ended up taking down some pretty good teams, went decently far into the tournament. And we had not the best finish, but we win as a team, we lose as a team. And that was great experience going into other lands. For instance, after that, we went to our regional qualifier for the Mid-Atlantic in Ohio for Red Bull, and we took that home for the second year in a row, and that brought us to nationals after a 15-hour qualifier online to play a best-of-1 tournament. But it's really nice to get LAN experience with the team for the first time, especially for some of the newer players.
Yeah, I agree. The whole point of doing that LAN in the first place was so we could prep for Red Bull. We knew it was coming up, and we wanted to get some experience. And in my opinion, it went very well overall. We went in there little expectations, like just going in there simply trying to play our game and get comfortable with each other. And I think that's just what we did. We beat a few teams. We had a tough loss. It really helped us hold each other accountable for what we needed to work on going forward for the rest of the year. Me especially, that tournament, I was very frustrated. We were in a room that was 90 degrees, so it was
Oh.
not very ideal at all. I was very irritated, especially getting Odin spammed and stuff like that. Like, man, it really pushed me to my limit, but it allowed me to self-reflect and improve on those things for the future. And I think it helped us in like every aspect as a team, especially in preparation for Red Bull. We took home the regional, and then went to nationals again as well.
So, what do you think is the biggest separation between traditional athletics at a D1 university and esports?
Me personally, I would say that traditional athletics, you get to be more, I would say, outdoors. That's the main. That's the main difference. Esports. I would say like we both put in work. There's practice every day. You have matches. You have leagues. For football and stuff like that. Obviously, like they're not in leagues. That's more so like a schedule. But it's pretty similar. I would say. You're gonna practice. You're gonna be with your team. You're gonna have coaches. You're gonna try to improve. And you're just going to try to win what you can for the university, and you want to make yourself at a higher stature than you already are. So it's pretty much the same thing, except we don't go to the NFL, we don't go to the NBA. If we do, we go pro, and that's about it.
I could say the same at West Virginia. I feel like here we're very like similar. We're held to the same standards, social media wise, same standard, behavior wise, academics, practice time. We're limited as well. Literally the same exact thing at our school. The only difference is those guys get praised a little bit more, but I mean that's granted. Their sports are respectively more popular and have been around longer. But I think esports can get to that level eventually, if people keep their heads level and start using it in less of like us versus them type deal, and more so like we need to come together to like uplift it. But at other schools, I guess you could say the biggest difference is probably the like grind set of esports. In sports, you go to your 2 hour lift, and then you go to your 2 hour practice, and then you go home and you do your homework, or in class, of course. But in esports, man, like as soon as you get done with practice, you're expected to play or stream or something like that. Like it's just a never-ending like workhorse cycle, and I think that's the biggest difference, personally.
Yeah.
I would
Oh, sorry.
I would add one more thing. I'd say if you're someone who likes playing video games, but you don't like playing for countless hours, and you don't like basically having a 9 to 5 job, I would say don't come play collegiate, especially for a school like West Virginia. But
Full-time job.
I love it. I would say it keeps me busy. I love going to school. I like trying to get good grades, and I love practicing with my team every day. I love playing matches. So yes, I'm very busy, but it's something that fits me as a person very well. And I would say if you're not someone that has a high work ethic, then don't do it.
Yeah. Responsibility and pressure is a privilege.
100%. I like that. I like that saying. And I think that speaks to a lot of like the hesitations that parents might have in sending their kids to a collegiate esports program, right? My kid's going to go to college and play video games, what I tell them not to do every single, right? That stigma. How are your parents when you approach them and say, hey, I'm going to travel across the country in Tayz's situation and go play esports for West Virginia University?
Well, honestly, my grandparents are super supportive of me. When I told them that this was an opportunity that would get me a scholarship to go to college, they were ecstatic. They wanted me to pick any school I wanted to, and they would support my decision. And I personally never thought I would go to college. I'm from California. I could have never gone to college, found a 6-figure job, and then fine, just live in California and pay absurd taxes. But I decided to, try to get a college education. I've never done it to experience I wanted, and I'm super glad I came here. The people I've met, the friends I've made, especially Angel, like, it's an experience I'll remember for the rest of my life, and it's something that it has definitely changed me to be a better person as well.
And let's give some props to West Virginia University really quick. What's maybe your favorite thing on campus or near campus? Favorite restaurant? Favorite maybe attribute that the university has that another school you were considering doesn't?
I would say my favorite thing about West Virginia University is just the support structure. There's cool things to do. Going to the football games is a great time. Always watching like WVU try to win, even though we're not the best at football. We still do pretty good. I think this year having a pretty good season, I would say. But overall, the support structure. If you're ever struggling with school, with anything in your personal life, WVU has like a great support structure for students to reach out, and they'll always help you. For instance, my dad just passed away about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. My dad passed away, a couple weeks ago, and it was like really hard on me, and I was having a really hard time. And my teammates, and my director and our coach, were all super supportive. And I didn't really have the financials to, travel out to California and back for just a couple of days. But my director made it happen. He was willing to support me and get me that trip home to say my goodbyes, and that really did mean a lot to me. And I would say, like, if you're gonna come to West Virginia, one thing you gotta know is, like, you're always gonna have a great support structure here.
Yeah, I can branch off that and say that a few weeks before Drew's dad got sick, my dad was also sick. So it's been a pretty rough time for us, but we're sticking it out and just getting it done. But I also was given 2 days off. We took off on a Friday and a Monday, so I could fly home for the weekend and spend the weekend with my dad. No issues, no questions asked. Just, you need to go home? Okay, perfect. Let's make it happen. So I could definitely say the support system here is one of a kind. But from my favorite part of Morgantown, this is a little bit different than what Drew said. I love Blue Lot. Ruby Memorial, that Blue Lot, that is my home. Tailgates are probably the best time I've ever had in my life. I just get to spend time with tens, hundreds of people, and just straight up hang out, and then just go watch some guys throw around a little brown ball.
Awesome. So let's speak a little bit maybe to your favorite memory that you have while attending and competing for West Virginia. I know qualifying for nationals and taking home your regional qualifier had to be up there. Is there anything else maybe that for each of you?
I definitely, mine is more recent. Probably my favorite memory here that was like very eye-opening and it like kind of changed me a little bit. For the better, of course. Was at our regional championship. Me and Drew sat outside the Columbus Blue Jackets arena for 3 hours late at night after the tournament and just talked. Literally just talked 3 hours. We were out there forever, and then we rode those little scooters home that they have in the city. So that was probably my favorite memory so far. It was very eye-opening. I learned a lot about Drew, learned a lot about me, and it was very, um, I guess you could say, beneficial for the both of us. I think it got us closer together as a team and as teammates as well.
Yeah, I will say the same thing. I would say, like, my favorite parts of being at West Virginia are like the close times I get to spend with my teammates, and I'd say, like, for instance, like, and probably the biggest one is the one the Angel just referenced, and I would say, like, obviously, like, going to nationals is fun, winning your regional is fun, but that kind of comes with the territory of trying to play and having a good team. But getting close with your teammates is something that's, like, very special to me, at least, because not only are your teammates your friends, and in the tier 2 scene, before collegiate, for many people, you kick and drop and pick up a new player every week. You'll be kind of friends, and then you won't be friends a month later. So one of the nice things about being in collegiate is, like, your teammates stay, and you really get to build a bond.
Yeah. And I think it allows us to show the good and the bad as well. In tier 2, you have good times with your teammates, but once they get bad, it's like, all right, well, this person doesn't fit us anymore. Let's go ahead and move on. Where, like, here, I've been here for a year with Drew already, and me and Drew have had tough times. Like, we've gotten into it, we've disagreed, but being here has allowed us to figure it out and ultimately become closer and just build that, like, brotherhood the right way rather than just ignoring issues and, like, shoving them to the side.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, we're changing our roster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just panic swapping someone because you disagreed on one thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like the camaraderie, and it really does feel like a family over there, just from what you guys are explaining. And that's an important environment to have in a situation where you're going to be there for 4, 3, 5 years, whatever your situation may be.
Yeah, like I tell these guys all the time, I spend more time with them than anyone.
Yeah.
Especially because we play outside of practice as well. Like, these guys get more of my time, even more than my family when I was home. As my whole life, my teammates have always been the center point of my life just because I'm always with them. So I'm always going to try to take care of them, do the best I can for my team because they're my family.
Absolutely. I love that. So let's wrap this up. Where can people find you on social media? Do you stream? Go ahead and give yourselves a little promo. And then what's going on next for West Virginia?
I'll say, well, you can find me on every social, Tayz Val. I don't stream very often. I should start streaming more. People have told me I'd be a great streamer because I'm funny, but yeah, my PC can't really handle that right now. But everything, all socials, Tayz Val, and the next step for West Virginia Valorant in particular is just keep on improving and hopefully take home some trophies.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Angel5Garcia_. My Twitter and my Twitch are Boltzy FPS. Those are really the only things that I post on, the four of those. I don't stream very often, but when I do stream, it's a good time. So If you guys want to hop in, that'd be great. The next step for us, we're just honestly gonna try to get over this hill that we've been going on, and just figure it out. Like Drew said, hopefully win some trophies. But I mean, the main focus for us is just getting better. Right? Trophies will come when we improve.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys for taking the time.